Ahoy, mate! Captain Mark here once again with another exciting episode of From the Wheelhouse. I can't tell you how happy I am to be with you guys today. Oh yeah, Captain Mark, he got a haircut. I actually couldn't get in touch with either one of my barbers, and so I just went to a new guy. I gave him a picture of someone that I admire greatly. His name is Nuri Mohammed. And I said, cut my hair like this, and he just scalped me, But it's okay. It's okay. I'm not trying to look good for anybody but the wife anyway. I've had a real rough day, I'm telling you. I have to tell you, the best thing that you can do in life is realize you got to take the bitter with the sweet. And today was one of those examples when I drove a boat and one of the engines went out, and I was in the middle of the trip. Well, I wasn't going to turn around. And so Captain Mark, because he has been trained and he trains other people to do this, I finished the trip with one engine. Oh my goodness. I had a few challenges there, but we got the job done. I had a good owner that was with me, and I'm very happy that we delivered his boat safely today to the mechanics to get some work done on that doggone thing. Today's show is about the cost of being happy. The cost, what does it cost to be happy? I mean, really. A lot of people think I should be talking about the cost of boating. But I think I'm talking about the same thing. What is the cost of being happy to you? Somebody just ran me out of the head and was really, really aggressive with me just because I went in the women's head. What's the head? And why do they call it the head? Well, in boating, we call the head, the bathrooms, we call them heads because don't you remember in the old days, in the 16 and 1700s, you saw pictures of all of these ships with beautiful hand-carved women on the front of each ship. And she would be having her arms back like this, and you just look up some of these pictures of some of these old-time sailboats. Well, the sailors would urinate on her head, but for good reason. Yes, I said that for good reason. That's right. Because the water constantly splashed on the head of that statue, rinsing it off. Therefore, when you're on a boat with a bunch of sailors for months sometimes, you don't want the smell of urine to be on the boat. And so the water would splash on the head of the statue, and therefore they call it the head if you were going to the bathroom. But don't ask me what they did for number two. A totally different story what they did for that. But, as I was in the bathroom and being ran out today, I had a thought about this. I really had a thought about all of the events that I go to, and I feel so bad for the ladies. I mean, I feel really bad for the ladies because at every event that I go to, the ladies' line is all the way down the hall. They're waiting for their turn. They have a different set of needs, obviously, and take a longer time, obviously. So why are we having these male and female bathrooms, and why don't we take a smaller portion of the real estate of any place that has events and use it for a men's restroom and make a beautiful enlarged restroom for the ladies? Well, same thing applies to boats. On boats, when we talk about the heads of boats, usually there's one or two, if we're using the larger boats, two, even three heads. But again, the ladies have a different set of needs. So you guys who are doing the engineering and boating, and yeah, that's one more avenue that you can pursue to get into the maritime industry. You guys and girls that's doing the engineering need to make sure that you are taking note of this. Make sure that as you're making these boats and you're making restrooms that are close by the waterfront, make sure that they're larger spaces and more accommodations for the ladies. So much for that. Just needed to tell you that. Back to the cost of boating and the cost of doing anything on the waterfront. I went to a place today, and you can recognize this as a candy wrapper. You know, I can tell you, I couldn't believe that this candy wrapper that I'm going to show you right now. Don't worry about the brand name, but the price tag. Price tag of it, $1.69. Don't you remember? Don't you remember when the price of happiness in the form of a candy bar, it was only 5 cents. One of my producers today told me that he could remember when it was 50 cents. Well, the cost of everything is getting greater and greater every day. What do you think about the cost of fuel for boats? You already know in the news that we have this big news about the price of fuel being at $5 a gallon. Well, I can tell you, for putting gas in boats, gas and diesels in boats, it costs a lot more money for sure. An awful lot more money. The thing is, if you're going to pay $1.50 more on average, probably, what are you getting for your dollar? What is the cost of boating to you? Today is a live call-in interactive show. If you have any questions or comments about the cost of boating, I want you to call this number at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. You can also write this one down. I want you to call me or email me directly. Next week, we're going to come with a bunch of questions. I got a bunch of emails from you guys, and I think your voice is time for you to be heard. And so if you want to email Captain Mark, you can do it at boatmaster1653 at Gmail. Boatmaster1653 at Gmail. And if you don't want to send an email and you just want to talk to me and ask about some questions, ask some questions about getting into the business, you can do so by reaching me at 312-437-2230. That's 312-437-2230. I understand that WVON this Saturday at 12 o'clock are going to be talking about the many, many entrepreneurs that are ex-offenders who realized that in order to rebuild their lives, they were not able to get jobs that would pay a livable wage. So I want to make sure that you know that this is one field that is open to people who may have had some challenges, and I want to help you. Now, we have a caller, and I wonder who this one is. We're going to take a call right now. Welcome to From the Wheelhouse. Who do we have there?
Hello, this is Lakeisha.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Very good, very good. How can we help you?
Well, I was calling in. I know you were talking about the cost of voting, and actually, I just wanted to talk or make a comment real quick about my experience. Like I'm getting into voting, and there is a cost to get into voting.
You just got into voting for the first time this year?
Yes, as far as learning to drive a boat, and I'm participating in a boat share as well.
Wow. Okay. So you are involved with one of the boat share companies here in Chicago, I presume. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. There
that's
are
correct.
many. There are many of them. So don't say the name of
Right.
that company. But I want you to talk about your experience and what kind of money does it cost, and why did you decide to get in a shared leasing program?
Well, I will start as I most definitely love the water and love being on boats and friends' boats. I will say I did attend like some boat shows like about 2 years ago before the pandemic, and the average price of boat, of course, go to upwards of six figures, brand new, 500,000, six hundred
Oh yeah,
thousand.
these are half million
Um,
dollar boats, and
oh, even used boats are upwards of 200, and that's just the purchase of the boat. It's not including, paying your harbor fees, your dock fees. Those can range from 4,000 on up to 10,000 a month, and you're paying
wow,
monthly during our short season.
wow,
So what prompted me,
yes.
yeah, so yeah, that was just crazy. Like, well, let me see if it's something I would really want to do, and if I did, I most definitely would partner with some
So
individuals.
wait a minute. Without making the full commitment of boat ownership, you thought that getting into a shared leasing program would work better for your needs. Is that right?
Yeah, right now, yes. So
Okay,
I'm going to
good.
see how this works out for me. So with this leasing program, you were asking about the cost for the season. It's about 26,000. It's for a 43-foot powerboat,
Wow.
and within that lease, you can say it's like a timeshare, but with boats. And I am partnered with two other friends, so we split that cost, and we're splitting the days.
I
So
see.
some people pay it by themselves, but I partner with two individuals, and we split those costs um, to just get more acclimated, learn more about it, and see if that's an expense we really want to take on in the future. So
Now,
this would give us that exposure.
how many days per year are you looking to use the boat?
Well, we are given 25 days for the season, the boating season.
Now, that's quite a few because you did say it was a short season. Now, what about your training? Do they give you any type of training so that you can really operate this boat by yourself? Or do you have to hire a captain like me?
They do provide training. They provide training for their boats. And in addition to providing training, they do require you to take the state and the Illinois boater safety courses
Yes.
and get your license through there. And they give you lessons with a captain. And some individuals, just so they're familiar with the boat, they know how to operate it. But if they're not really comfortable, they can hire a captain like you.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you doing. I think that we need to do an entire show on shared leasing because a lot of people don't want to suffer the expense of paying for dock fees, mechanics, having your boat put up for the winter, having it winterized, having it
Hmm.
delivered to a yacht yard, delivered from a yacht yard, and many, many other costs. So the cost of being an owner is really great, but being a shared leaser, you don't have all of those expenses, do you?
No, not at all. Once the season's over, I can walk away.
Well, I want to thank you. You gave us a great idea for a show that we're going to have to do an entire show about shared leasing. Do you have another question or comment?
No, that's all.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We'll see you on the lakefront for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye bye. Yeah, that was pretty good. Man, these folks out here that are putting all of this money out here for trying to have some fun, I'm going to tell you, it's not cheap, but You don't have to mortgage your house either in order to share a boat with other people. And a lot of people get together with their friends and try to buy a boat. I haven't seen, I don't think I've seen one relationship work out because people are different. And when it comes to buying a boat, it's like buying one house and both of you moving into that one house. We're all a little bit different, and maybe the shared leasing process is a little different. Now we have another caller. Welcome to today's show from the Wheelhouse. My name is Captain Mark. Who do we have here?
Captain Mark, it's Captain Jim.
Captain Jim, oh my goodness. I'm always glad to hear your voice. And I want to thank you again for doing a show with us several weeks ago about hidden dangers. What brings you to the call today, sir?
Well, I just like to bring up that old saying, if you want to play, you got to pay. Now, I'll give you three examples. All right. One, I was running that beautiful 70-foot Sea Ray for my buddy Larry Claremont, who passed away last year, great guy.
Yes.
But we went down there to Hammond, and we needed fuel. It was almost on empty, and pumped it up, and guess what the tab came to? $7,000 to fill the boat up with fuel.
$7,000. Wow.
Right.
I hope that you charge for pumping $7,000 worth of fuel.
No, they had dock roads down there, but and then another example is, boating is one thing, but if you're on the water, you got to have other things to do. Beaches, swimming, yacht clubs. So I belong to Chicago Yacht Club, and guess how much I spend down there every year?
What's that?
$12,000.
Wow.
And you know what? I'm not complaining. Worth every penny of it.
Worth every penny. Wow. That's something else. If you are spending that kind of money and you're feeling like you're getting your real value out of that, how do you bring somebody else into the world of boating who doesn't have quite that much to put out to enjoy the water?
Well, that's why I invite these females down, and they bring some other assets to the equation besides money, and but that can get pricey too.
Look, everything costs for sure. But thank you so much. I appreciate your call today.
All right, thank you, Captain Mark. Keep up the good work.
All righty. That was Captain Jim. Trust me, folks, one of a kind. I don't think the world could handle two Captain Jim Mescals. That's a fact. Now, the cost of being a captain. Well, the cost to go to a captain school is $1,200 to $1,500 for a 12-week course. That's 3 days a week, 5 hours per night, 3 days a week. Plus, you have to do 360 days of sea time under the direction of a licensed captain, or you could drive someone's boat. But I don't think people would want you to drive their boat if you were not working under a licensed captain, if they are spending all of this money on a boat. It costs to do everything, but here's one thing for sure. Once you become a captain, here's something that I don't like, and this is my television show, and so I can speak up on it any way that I like. Here's something that I don't like: the cost of parking. Parking is absolutely ridiculous along the Chicago lakefront for a boat captain. Now, I can see if you were just bringing a family out for a picnic and you wanted to come, you're going to pay $20, $30 for parking. On certain holidays, you're going to pay a lot more. But What about those of us that are working in the maritime industry? I want to put out a personal appeal in behalf of all of the captains, all of the technicians, all of the deckhands, that we need to have relief from this parking situation. They will not even, and when I say they, I'm talking about Westrec and their owners, their new owners, Suntex. They are not allowing a captain to buy a parking pass to park in multiple harbors unless he has $1 million insurance, which is ridiculous. The owners are required to have $1 million insurance already to have their boats on the docks at any of the 10 Chicago harbors. So why would they turn around and say that they want the captains? We're not even vendors. They only want mechanics or people that clean boats to have access to buying passes that allow them to be at multiple harbors. I think that it would be a great thing if Suntex and Westrec worked together and realized that you had a number of professionals that work on Chicago's lakefront. We're the guys that make it, and girls, that make it safer for the public to come and be on boats. And it's a financial hardship to have to pay for that. For the parking at the rates that they want you to buy a separate pass for each harbor, or buy a separate parking ticket for each day that you're there. Well, some of us, believe it or not, work every day there, and we want to be able to help the system work better. So we're asking in behalf of all of the captains that I know, technicians and deckhands, we're asking together to Westrec and to Suntex to reconsider and think about this, that they need a parking pass that's suitable for the working professionals. We're there to make things better, and we shouldn't be drained financially for this. The same thing with back to the cost of fuel. I haven't been able to figure it out yet, and I've never been one to bite my tongue. So I want to ask, does anyone have any response to me about the price of fuel for boats? I know that Westrec in the past has kept the price of fuel down. They really have been working to do that. Also, they give discounts to many of the people who are in the business commercially. For example, the bareboat charter business, that they will give discounts because they're using an awful lot of fuel. So I think that we need to figure a way to work together rather than some of the people are thinking that the fuel is different. I don't think that the fuel is different. I think it's the same trucks that pull up to our local gas stations. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I stand corrected if you show me that I'm wrong, okay? But I want to make this an easier way for us to do. Now I want to turn the corner for a second and talk again about the cost of boating. But this time I'm going to show you a piece of a video. I recommend that each and every one of you go to the Chicago Harbor Safety Committee's website by going to chicagoharborsafety.org. And you will see several educational pieces there. Here's a part from one of them, a visit to Navy Pier. And what do you expect to see at Navy Pier when you go there? And we're going to talk about something called Dime Pier.
Navy Pier was completed in 1916 as Municipal Pier Number 1, and shortly thereafter renamed Navy Pier in honor of naval veterans of World War I. During the Second World War, Navy Pier was an active naval training base where pilots were trained to take off from and land back onto large ships, training for aircraft carriers. The naval base closed after the war when the pier became the campus of the University of Illinois into the 1960s, when they moved to the near southwest side. It is now a popular recreational center and reportedly the #1 tourist attraction in Illinois, averaging 7 to 8 million visitors per year. Attractions include dining, shopping, an amusement park, concert halls, convention space, bars, ballrooms, and boat rides. Approaching Navy Pier, you will see many commercial tour boats. Keep in mind that they are on very tight fixed schedules and routes. If you must cruise down the fairway on the south side of the pier to ogle at the big boats, do so with caution and keep moving. It's necessary to know the rules of the road here. You need to understand whistle signals as well as give way rules. While it may not be written in the rules of the road, the prudent thing here is to go by the common rule of tonnage. If they are bigger than you, give way. The partially submerged breakwater between Navy Pier and the Chicago Lock is referred to as Dime Pier, which was originally built by the federal government around 1920 as a breakwater to protect the lake steamers that operated from Navy Pier. The breakwater gradually acquired a life of its own, and by the late 1940s, Chicagoans were ferrying there to catch their own fish or eat at the late Eddie Howard's restaurant. The trip to the pier was made by rowboat from a pedestrian walk that led to the Chicago River locks from a point just south of Rocky's Bait Shop. The fare was a dime, hence the pier's name. As the lake level has risen in recent years, this wall has become nearly submerged at the east. Don't be fooled. It's a significant hazard to prop and hull as you wait for your turn to pass through the lock to the Chicago River. South of Navy Pier and Dime Pier is the Chicago Harbor Lock, completed in 1938, which separates.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Dime Pier for a second. A lot of people say, well, Mark, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're talking about the Army Corps of Engineers now. Well, I might be talking about the Army Corps of Engineers or the Coast Guard or anybody, but I'm going to say it like I see it. And if you don't like it, you can apologize to me later. That's a fact. The thing is, Dime Pier has always been dangerous. It's always been a hazard to navigation. What does it take, folks? What does it take? Somebody important's child to get killed out there at Dime Pier? I'm going to give you a freebie. Why don't you just put a billboard signs up and down there that say, "Welcome to Chicago, the city with big shoulders." And this way, we would be able to see Dime Pier before we run over it. All of the new boaters, the novices, are the ones that we see up there. Every year, somebody tears up their boat there at Dime Pier. People are getting killed on the break walls. They tell us we can't put a light bulb there because if we put a light bulb there and one of them blows out and then you hit the wall, now we're responsible. Well, that's ridiculous. What about the walls, or what about the stoplights at every corner in the city of Chicago? If a light bulb blows out, do you think that folks are going to sue the city of Chicago because a light bulb blew out? I don't know. Look, I'm not a lawyer. All I am is talking about common sense. I want you folks to understand that if you are in charge of Chicago's waterways, whether you're with the Coast Guard or whether you're with the IDNR, that's the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, or if you're with the Army Corps of Engineers or the Chicago Police Department or the City of Chicago, the Mayor's Office, get some type of lighting there on Dime Pier and do it now before the next person gets hurt or killed on Dime Pier. I said it and I mean it. And if you don't do it, it's on your shoulders. That's a fact. And if you don't like it, I'm going to tell you again. You can apologize to me later. That's the end of today's show, folks. Thank you so much for coming in. I'll see you next week. Until then, Mama, get the coffee ready. The kid, he's on his way.